Hey, what's up, gamers? I just wanted to come out here and do a little video. Basically because 7.2 is continuing to, or I guess you'd say Blizzard via 7.2 is continuing to put out some content into the worlds, and I guess we're going to get more tomorrow because Tuesday is usually the kind of the maintenance day and stuff gets released after. What I want to discuss in this video, however, is how increasingly absurd it's getting with the amount of bugs, glitches, and other issues we're getting from official content releases. When Blizzard is supposedly has a public test realm where you can go in and try out the new content, do things so that they can, you can get feedback. You get a little sneak preview of what's gonna it's gonna be able to excuse me, what is going to be available when you start playing the game after the patch was released, and so on and so forth. It's basically there to weed out, get rid of all the major hiccups and all the potential problems that we don't want to run into when we're playing an officially released patch. But apparently, for some reason, Blizzard does not have the competency, the patience, or the manpower to use the PTR effectively to the point where that we get the new content and we don't have major issues, which we have had for the past week, whether it's bosses in Nighthold, content from weeks back, which was already working fine. We had all of our world firsts and region firsts, so obviously that wouldn't have been attainable if the raid had been on the fritz. And now all of a sudden we've got people running into major issues, which I believe have been addressed, and also issues with stuff on the Broken Isles themselves. And one thing recently, that I just tried to do today, is you get this new, when the mage tower goes up, you get access to these really hard bosses. And apparently, I guess you're only supposed to be able to, now that I've found out, you're only supposed to be able to, or they're only supposed to be soloed, at least. So, which I don't recall them, why were we able to group for, I was able to group with people that were able to, for one, I think it was the Imp Mother, Agatha, or whatever, one, and then when we tried to go in, everybody's account got all screwed up, and basically I couldn't log back in. I had to close out the game. I tried to log back in, and it gave me this message that says there's already the character under that name already exists. So I had to restart the computer in order to get kicked out of that, or to get back to Broken Shores. Because if when you look on your main menu thing where you choose your characters and it says what zone they're in, if it's blank, something's screwed up. So apparently they released this stuff, which isn't even supposed to be beatable at this point, because it's based on getting your eye level up way higher. But the Tomb of Sargeras, I don't know, that's probably like a month out, I would say, or something like that. Unless they're going to try to force it through faster and do the same stupid mistakes that they did before. But yeah, it's like, what's the point? I got the quest, went in, and got, and fought the Imp Mother and her ads, and I maybe lasted about 20-25 seconds, and then, it was toast. And then after that, it's 100 nether shards per. You get the first time you get it, you get to go in there. It doesn't cost anything because it's the first time you've accessed the quest. But yeah, I said there's also issues with I think it's the Centenax, is that big ship up above that you use something to open up a portal, and all these demons pour out, and you, as a group, you can go in there and just kill these mobs, and that's how you kind of farm your nether shards. But even then, apparently there was a glitch that involved it was like almost like a neutral faction tagging where you could tag, or some people were able to tag a mob, but it ended up graying it out for everybody or something crazy like that. And to reiterate what I talked about with faction tagging in my previous video, in some of these areas, it's literally the Horde literally is camping out in these areas where these world quests are, and they're basically tagging everything. So I literally spent like 10 minutes on that one where you're attacking their garrison, and it's like, you know, you have a status bar from 0 to 100%. Literally just running around like an idiot, trying to tag, you know, mobs, and they're basically just sending people all over the place, you know, with ranged attacks like, you know, hunters or you know, or boomkins that, you know, can use their kind of their real quick magic attacks to tag mobs, and it was just absurd. So just a reminder, get rid of faction tagging, at least on the Broken Isles, or preferably everywhere, you know, at this point, because it's just going to make things a major pain in the ass that it doesn't need to be. And I haven't been playing, like I said, I haven't gone into the LFRs or any of the dungeons or anything, or the Mythic Pluses where other people have and have run into tons of problems. Where some, like I said, in Nighthole, some of the bosses were, you couldn't beat them, basically, because of the way that things were screwed up. And like I said, and this is not anything new. I mean, I recall that the launch of Legion went off without a hitch, which kind of shocked everybody. We were expecting some major issues and major downtime, you know, to get everything fixed. But I just don't know who to lay the blame on. It's either they are so worried about getting the stuff out as fast as possible because they're worried about subscriptions dropping, or the people that are in charge of overseeing their development teams, and all these people are doing a piss poor job of keeping an eye on things and making sure everything is going according to schedule and is ready for release, or the people that are doing the programming are morons. I don't know what the issue is, but it's something that needs to be addressed, because I mean, if this was a company that like BioWare or who else would we have? Any company that puts out standalone games, Capcom or whoever else. If they were putting out games at launch that required this much hotfixing and were so screwed up that you couldn't even play them, and you did this every time you had a DLC or an expansion pack for that or everything, and that became one of the things you were known for, is just having a horrible quality control when it came to ironing out glitches and problems. You would start to see your profits drop. And I don't think Blizzard's immune from this, if this is the mentality they're taking when it comes to rushing content out, and because they're afraid that, they're going to, what they have currently is going to get stale. So it's like, get it out as fast as possible so the people don't hit that point where they start to lose interest. Well, if you put it out earlier than it should be put out, and and all we're doing is sitting here dealing with bugs that pretty much keep us from actually doing the content, then you're probably worse off than just pushing the release date back, which is what they should have done to 7.2. They should have either released it this Tuesday or next Tuesday, and had everything opened and ready to go. All of the order hall stuff, all the class mount stuff, the follower stuff, everything that they had said was going to be launched at 7.2, ready to go on, the minute that patch was up and running and they'd done all their little last minute checks and it went live. All of that content that they've been advertising for weeks and weeks and weeks should have been available, like that, without any problems, or with some problems that were so minor that it wouldn't overall affect whether or not you could actually attempt the content or not. Now, this is a no-brainer, and partially I blame some of this on these brain dead casuals that play this game that they don't realize that how they're being beaten like the proverbial redheaded stepchild Blizzard, pulls this kind of crap, and they still, oh, Blizzard's can do no wrong. Why are you complaining? Well, I mean, maybe your mommies and your daddies are paying for your subscriptions and buying you the games, and you're not having to pay for this on your own. That might be the reason why you're willing to put up with so much crap, is because you don't see it coming out of your own pocket, and which I imagine is probably the reason for it, because I imagine there's probably a ton of kids 18 or under that are playing the game, that their parents are paying for it. They're not having to work a job, part time to be able to afford their gaming habits. So yeah, that's another big issue. I'm a casual, and because I'm not a hardcore PvPer. I don't do progression rating or anything like that. I'm not doing Mythic Plus, Keystone, stuff. I haven't even done anything above like a 2. Because like I said, I just don't have the desire to devote so much time into just, perfecting my playing abilities as far as, DPS and mechanics and everything go. I just don't have that desire to do it. I mean, if I had the time to devote to it, maybe I would, but I just don't. So I try to represent casuals as, what you should be as a casual. And I do plan on doing a video on it to educate those that are make basically the reason why being a casual has become such an embarrassing term, or such a dirty word, because and I know that the cheerleading that goes on and the pre-ordering, regardless of what the game is, or Blizzard has shown that the game is going to, content is going to contain, you would blindly pre-order it, even if every idea that they'd put forth was completely moronic. So yeah, don't get over this this mindset of freaking out if anybody complains about the game or suggests improvements to the game, because that's going to, because when it becomes, it's just one person. But if it's, a couple 100,000 people are saying, hey, what's up with this? Maybe they have a point. And if it's something that's been, addressed by the fans in prior expansion, has never been fixed, or has been fixed in a piss poor way that actually made things worse, then yeah, then it needs to be dealt with, because improving the game based on, player response and feedback, which they do when, begrudgingly, that's kind of the whole point of product development and getting a game that's superior. You listen to the fan base up to a point. Obviously, you can't listen to everything everybody wants. But if if an issue becomes such a problem that, like I said, look at Mythic rating and all these guilds that are known, in the gaming world for competitive gaming, and they're tired of the rating, and they don't want to devote any more time to it because they think it's a waste of time. And those are the people that are, as far as putting Blizzard on the map, as far as competitive gaming and marketing and exposure to the rest of the world. These guilds and these players that have made a name for themselves on YouTube and social media because of how good they are at the game. If those people are leaving, then what? Are you going to have your casuals as the ones that are carrying, the banner carriers for your company going down, into the future? It's like, I don't think so. That sounds like a recipe for disaster to me. So yeah, I still don't think Legion is as bad as Warlords yet, but yeah, it's not. It's only a really lousy content patch away. Especially if it's the last content patch we get, major one. That'll be the deciding factor on whether or not this game is better or worse than Legion. Warlords. Excuse me. But yeah, it's not that much better than Warlords. I don't care what anybody says. You traded one grind for another. You traded Garrison for Nether Shard's reputation, artifact power, and so on and so forth. So you're still in a similar boat. It's just the environment you're interacting in just looks a little bit different. But yeah, I'm sure I'm not the only one that's kind of getting tired of their laziness and their incompetence when it comes to getting all these bugs and glitches figured out. My advice to Blizzard is take as long as you need to make sure that everything is done and completed and everything is worked out to where it should be, so that when you launch it, it goes off with, without a hitch. Don't worry about if you have to push it back a week or two. It's better to do it that way than to try to rush things and then spend that 2 weeks, dealing with a bunch of angry players and coming out with all these hot fixes, because all you're doing is making people mad when you don't need to. Yeah, that's about it for my little rant on the notion of the public testing realm. It doesn't seem to be doing the job as well as it should to anyone with half a brain and some common sense. But that's it for all of it, and no more to say as far as that topic goes, so I'll end it here. That's it for now, folks. Take it easy, and I'll be back sometime down the road with another gaming-related video.